We are keen to know the essence of it. So I am just helping you to build the understanding about the perception. The perception comes in only when the stimuli receives the information, and the received information can be organized and interpreted. That's where the threshold come into picture. Only when there is a threshold and above, a mind registers it and senses collects it, so to say. So now the perception has to be studied. You need to study the perception. So how do you study the perception? That's where the perceptual mechanism comes into picture. So perceptual mechanism has a two kind of factors: external factors and internal factors. External factors are more related to stimuli coming from the environment, from the outside. Internal factors related to more the perceiver himself, the receiver himself. What is his demographic, what is his socio-cultural exposure, what is his psychographic state of mind, etc. Now based on that my interpretation will happen. So that's where the perception formation happens. People perceive things differently because perceptual mechanism of individual differs. Each individual, based on his exposure, society that he lives in, what is the other consideration, external environment that he has seen it, his perception shapes appropriately. So the same incidents may be looked upon by different people differently. So that's what is the essence of a perceptual mechanism. They will differ individual based on exposure and their mind frame that they have developed for themselves. So there are three sub processes. How do you go about perceptual mechanism we are studying? So there are three sub processes: perceptual selection, perceptual organization, and perceptual interpretation. Selection, organization, interpretation. So you will wonder, selection, is it in our hand, consumer's hand? So that's a process. The perceptual process consists of 6 steps. So presence of an object. So there are perception, this thing to take place, there has to be an object. Object should be observed, selected, organized, interpreted, and response is generated. So there are the 6 stages through which, or 6 steps through which it goes. We will try to understand broadly the above 3 points more elaborately. Perceptual selection. We are flooded with countless stimuli. Every day various things are coming in. But at the end of the day, you try to recall everything. We will not be able to recall. We will be able to recall only thing that we have noticed, only thing that we have accepted. So what it means, there are many things that we have ignored. So ignore this thing is happening because either my mind has a comprehension ability for that stimuli to understand, therefore I have received, I have a need for it, and therefore I have received, etc. I forget because I do not have a need, or it is a subject beyond my comprehension, so I ignore. So perceptual selection is an essential thing because the marketer should ensure that in the process of building the brand positioning, first this thing is a perceptual selection. The consumer must receive your stimuli. Okay, so we ignore what we want to or we do not want to. So that's a very critical thing. Therefore, the selection of the stimulus should depend on stimulus itself. What is the stimulus that you are offering? Previous experience as a stimulus or the new experience you are talking about? So the consumer will look at you accordingly. Okay, so DHL may continue to talk about their success delivery, but if there is a new resort coming in, they are talking about the new experience that it is bringing. Okay, or the ceasefire when it came in the fire extinguisher, they conveyed how rapidly the fire could come under control. So it's a new experience that they give, and people then were eyes wide open. Oh, with such a small can, I can still control my house fire. So you see, the stimulus itself is critical. Use of stimulus from the advertiser's perspective. So stimulus plays a vital role. So we are still on that point 1. Selective exposure, selective attention, selective distortion, selective retention, and perceptual blocking. All 5 things are very important. So let's understand them. Selective exposure is, I will choose what I want to receive. So that's a selective exposure. I will ignore. If I have a need for a laptop buying, because my current laptop is 5 years old, I will start noticing Intel advertising coming on television. I will start noticing the various laptop advertisement coming. If I have no need, I'll probably ignore. Okay, so car servicing is a constant concern. So nowadays you see that app-based, car servicing company, at home servicing company. So I've noticed them. They are talking to me and I noticed because yes, car servicing is of interest to me. So that's a selective exposure, selective attention. So my attention will be towards the thing that I am looking for, I want to get involved with. Distortion. Distortion means when some stimulus comes to me, now I receive it in a way I am supposed to, or I distort it with my personal belief, motives, etc., my personal characteristics, etc. So if I had to give you an example in our era, and this must be almost 30 years before, conservative society, and there was a one tough shoes advertisement which came in with a nude, male, female, this thing with the python around their body, concealing certain vital organs, etc. But it created so much of a furor, means we distorted, we shunned that, we said, oh, this is not done. So the shoemaker created an impact, but that impact was distorted. People did not accept it. Selective retention. I will retain things what I want to retain. So you may feed me many things, but I will retain. I was looking out for a better hard disk. You conveyed that your laptop has an SSD in it, means I know that I got what I wanted. So I have retained. I may not have retained what is that chip into it and what is the memory, this thing, etc. So again, that's a selective retention. And in a perceptual blocking, for certain things I have a block to this thing. I do not believe that public display of affection is the right thing, so I will not. Sexuality, exposure, is overexposure is not right, so I will block that. My mind will not look at it also. So that's how the stimuli, when advertiser uses this, he faces these 5 challenges. Now he must know whether he will find an acceptance of this stimulus among his target group. So this is the Gasol principles of perceptual associations. Now here also, when you looked at this picture, do you see 2 faces or do you see the flower vase? What did you see? So ask your mind. Many who will see the flower vase and many must have seen 2 faces. So figure in ground is a marketing challenge. So whenever marketeers use the product or a packaging picture, etc., they have to consider the principle of figure in ground. So always your product, main product, more packaging, etc., should come as a figure. Therefore, background that you create should be such that it will stand out your figure. It should not be a confusing background. So here the white is actually a background, but the way it was created, it has created a distortion. Somebody could see 2 faces and somebody could see the flower vase. So actually the object is flower vase. So that's what they are trying to tell you, that your figure should stand out. Or background should be, the ground or background should be such that it will distinguish it, not complicated. Okay, so that's where the principle of this comes in. Second is the grouping. As per the grouping principle, people tend to group together the various stimuli that they receive. They group the stimuli, what they received, as a unified picture or a unified as a whole. The basis for such grouping could be similarity amongst the stimuli and proximity of the stimuli. I receive various stimuli. I receive various stimuli from you, from competition, etc. Now my mind will decide. So if it is a convenience, the certain thing will go under the convenience category. Something will go about adventurous, this thing, so it will go under adventurous, this thing. So that's how my mind is classified. So my mind classifies either it as a similarity. There is a similarity of certain nature, so I classify it accordingly. Or proximity of the stimuli. Though there is no clear meaning, but this falls under adventure activity, you can say. So I will put it under adventure. This falls under safety and security. So because they are closely related, as a result, I will group them accordingly. And then the recallability comes out of this. On a similarity or on a proximity, how your mind has organized the stimuli. So that's where the grouping comes in. Proper grouping and doing things to allow consumer to group the thing well, it creates a better recall. That's what one need to understand. The closure principle